to physically help me pack. So it's been hard, but it is Joyce's last chance to get the help.
Order the cinnamon roll pancakes.
Will there be anything else?
The double moons over my hammy.
The good news is you don't sound like you're
Enjoying smaller portions and not getting hungry at all, so.
okay. You have done that sooner, then give me a call to set up your appointment, and we will do it then.
Number 3. Joyce Del Vescovo. When the 44-year-old Kansas native debuted on My 600 Pound Life in 2020, she was over 750 pounds and in critical condition. Not only did Joyce have self-care problems, but she also had mobility issues due to her short height, which was only 4'11".
Like, duh. I don't get this big eating small amounts. So why would...
She's gonna die, and then there's nothing I can do about it.
Joyce hasn't been able to physically help me pack. So it's been hard, but it is Joyce's last chance to get the help.
How are you feeling about all this? It really is a big risk, you know?
If I don't do this, then it's just kind of waiting until my body gives out and I'm not here.
Her life had become a source of grief for herself, but she was inexorably drowning her family in her own tragedy, dragging them down with herself. But did it stop her from overeating? Doesn't seem like it, judging from the 5 cartons of food placed in front of her by a caretaker, Dawn. It could have been history repeating itself, as she was the same age as her dad at that point when he passed away due to heart attacks. It wasn't looking good for Joyce either, as she had trouble getting out of bed and was extremely depressed, and was paying a friend to help her through normal tasks. Joyce's weight problems began at a young age when her parents got divorced. Later on, her stepbrothers carnally maltreated her, leading to psychological issues. At 20, Joyce was already 400 pounds, and her continued poor lifestyle made her reach over 750 pounds by the time she was 44. Expectations were low for Joyce on the show, as she doubted Dr. Now and wasn't aiming to lose weight naturally.
Any pain anywhere?
Just a little bit, like residual pain from being in pain for so long.
One shortness of breath?
A little bit, yeah. It's hard for me to take a deep breath right now.
Okay. The good news is you don't sound like you're...
I'm a little hungry. I didn't eat all day.
Well, don't worry. You have eaten the food that belongs to next... You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
But we'll get you something, okay? All right, that now. But then after that, we'll get you situated in the room and get some lab work.
She only wanted to get the surgery for quick results. When the doctor told her that she needed to lose weight before surgery, Joyce showed no enthusiasm and quit the program instead. She was also one of the most combative. The Kansas native was a major burden on her loved ones due to her uncontrollable food addiction. Although she managed to lose 150 pounds during her time with the show, she also gained a lot of weight back, leading her to decry the plan as unfair and unreasonable. She left the show in a huff, putting all the blame for her failure on Dr. Now instead of owning up to her weaknesses. Number 2. Mike McGuinness. How does a star athlete become a patient on My 600 Pound Life show? Well, you'll find that out today. When the cameras began rolling, Mike McGuinness was a 37-year-old living with his parents in Marion, Ohio. A monolith of epic proportions. He weighed in at over 700 pounds, and it was taking a toll on his life. The dedicated sportsman had always had a very large frame, and then you combine with his sports activities, he was always given double the proportions of his peers. His love of food had never been a problem for him since his gargantuan size took care of any extra meals he could have been storing. But once he stopped playing and didn't scale back on the food, the calories started piling up in the form of fat all over his body. One dive into his past told us a painfully tragic story of tough breaks which actually broke his spirit.
What can I do for you?
I got a pretty big order, so order the cinnamon roll pancakes.
Will there be anything else?
The double moons over my hammy.
A star athlete at college, Mike's life was taking flight and there were riches, fame and glory in his future. But all the promises and dreams within his grasp crumbled to the ground in a heap of dust at one evil stroke of destiny's pen. Having suffered serious concussions during football twice, he was declared unfit for further sports and dropped from his football scholarship. This jolt rendered him rudderless, and he was left to drift in a haze of grief and depression by his concerned parents. Instead of coming out stronger, Mike drifted towards comfort eating and started gaining weight. His marriage and subsequent divorce lost him not only his home, but his 3 beautiful children, a blow he couldn't cope with. With no career or family, Mike turned to food and indulged himself beyond his body's capacity to handle the consequences. His life centered around one meal-consuming moment to the next, and soon his weight started ruling over his life and made him a prisoner within his own home. It was the love for his children which gave him the courage to face the monster which currently had him in its grip, and he decided to get the help he needed from Dr. Now Zaradan at his clinic.
Yeah,
All right, how's things going for you?
very well.
All right, you lost 230. You should be losing each month. So that needs to improve. But the good news is your weight loss is stable. Same environment that got you to be 745 pounds. So you have to be careful because, and if that happens, you could find yourself very easily putting all your weight back on, more each month. But if you don't and you start to gain, then we have to bring you back to Houston. And so
Absolutely. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm doing meal prepping, making sure I have everything set up for the day, enjoying smaller portions and not getting hungry at all. So,
okay. Psychotherapy, so you don't go back to old eating habit. If that's good, I'm glad to hear that. So how is right now the extra skin doing in your abdomen? And once you get to 300, and then we're going to be able to do some skin surgery for a while to recover from that. Once we get to that point.
I can do that.
All right, Mike, I'm proud of you.
Mike made good progress on his weight loss journey under Dr. Now's eagle eye and reconnected with his parents in the process. He was referred to Dr. Paradise, who helped him unravel the root causes of his dysfunctional relationship with food. Soon, he had his life under his own control, and he became the inspirational story to put many an American on their path to recovery.
Active,
Okay.
playing sports.
A lot of energy?
Yeah, tons of
You're a
energy.
big guy. What sport you play?
Football, basketball from it and everything. So it was
Where'd you go to college? Where'd you get recruited?
St. Francis University, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Football is my life, and when it's taken away from me is when my depression started. In the
Okay,
first
150 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. So food replaces football.
Yep.
So roll me ahead in the future. Do you know you're having marriage problems?
It was about let's see.
To you.
Yes, in front of the kids. She took the house, took the car. I was not to have anything.
Happens to you that has an element of like bad luck, bad time, something like that, and then it like rolls down. Figure out a way for you to recognize, okay, I'm having a setback. Now I need to step up.
Try to figure out what we need to do to win.
So what are we going to do to make sure you're not going to go sit on the sideline and...
Number 1. Michael Blair. When Texan Michael Blair reached out to Dr. Now, his world existed entirely within the walls of his home, and he knew he needed to change. In retrospect, Michael, a married father of 2, was 609.5 pounds, admitted that his day was spent eating, a habit that started at an early age. After his own father left, Michael and his mother moved in with his maternal grandparents. Though likely well-intentioned, Michael's grandmother made a habit of feeding him frequently throughout the day, so much so that by the time he was 7 years old, Michael weighed close to 110 pounds.
I got lots of excuses, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, it's understandable. That's getting hard before we're ready to do that. Maybe next time, if you stick with it and get back on track, okay?
Active and improving myself. It's just been harder the past few months, but I'm trying and I'm not giving up. I mean, I've lost.
Harder and work at it, okay?
That's what I'm gonna do.
All right. So we make sure you have done that sooner. Then give me a call to set up your appointment, and we will do it then. So you both keep at it, work hard, and if you need anything, give me a call.
We will.
See y'all later. Work harder if he wants to succeed at this. Because losing more weight is the only option he has. We likely won't be able to get him back on track.
Depressed and embarrassed by his size, he sought food for comfort, which began a vicious cycle of depression and weight gain. As the cycle progressed, Michael withdrew inward, fearing the teasing of his classmates. Michael's mental health suffered another devastating blow when, at age 11, he was carnally maltreated by a wilderness camp leader. By the time Michael was 14, he weighed 250 pounds, which came close to 400 pounds by graduation. In college, Michael fell in love with martial arts. Around that time, Michael met a woman named Kimberly, who would become his wife and the mother of his children. During the early years of their marriage, both Michael and Kim struggled with poor eating habits and began to gain significant weight. Wanting a healthier life for themselves and their new family, the couple got approved for gastric bypass surgery. Unfortunately, Michael's surgery did not happen due to him being in a catastrophic car accident, which resulted in severe abdominal scarring that prohibited the gastric bypass. Seeing his one chance at a better life ripped away, Michael sank into a depression and began eating and gaining. He eventually stopped training in martial arts, further exasperating the weight gain, and Michael then grew to over 600 pounds. His size and the depression and shame it caused him led Michael to withdraw from the outside world entirely and develop agoraphobia. His agoraphobia was so severe that even stepping outside his front door was traumatic. With his weight growing and his health diminishing, Michael made the decision to ask Dr. Now for help. After undergoing a series of tests, Dr. Now confirmed what Michael's previous doctors told him and discovered further health complications. Michael had a severe hernia affecting the walls of his stomach. The only solution for Michael was to lose enough weight to allow a surgery to fix it, during which Dr. Now would also try to remove a significant amount of scar tissue. If both procedures were successful, then bypass would potentially be an option. It turned out to be what saved his life and his sanity in the end. By the 10th month of his journey, Michael was successfully re-entering the world and had even signed up for martial arts training once again. He went on to be another inspirational story from that source. That's all we have for you folks. Join us next time.